The Astros have the best bullpen in baseball. Josh Hader, superstar closer, now formerly of the San Diego Padres, has agreed to a 5-year, $95 million contract with the Houston Astros. Now, in a very surprising move, a lot of us can say that we were very much anticipating Hader to go to Texas, but to the Rangers, not the Houston Astros. And also, it felt very surprising in the fact that the Astros have a good closer in Ryan Presley. Ryan Presley had himself another good season. Even though he's 34 years old, he still was the team's main guy when it came to closing out games. 31 saves on the year. His ERA did jump up a little bit over the last couple of years because he was really good at keeping it below 3. But this past year it was up to 3.58, and his FIP kind of reflected that as well. So, there was, he had himself another good season. It was a little bit of a dip from numbers of the last couple of years, but I mean, that kind of comes with age a little bit. While the Astros could have stayed content and had themselves a really, really good closer in Ryan Presley, they went out and got the best closer available. Josh Hader coming off a fantastic year for the Padres. He's, again, one of those stories from the Padres. Those guys having really good seasons, but just collectively for a Padres team that really just didn't go anywhere. And just looking on the, before really diving into the Astros, looking on the back half of this for the Padres, this team's gonna look pretty different come the start of next year. So it's gonna be interesting how that whole situation kind of plays out when you still have Machado, you still have Tatis Jr., and you still have some solid guys. It's just the moves they have to make to see how they're gonna go about being competitive in the following seasons with a lot of key talent going elsewhere, because Blake Snell is most likely gone and Josh Hader and Juan Soto have already walked out the door. I feel for Padres fans a little bit, but it's gonna be real interesting to see how they kind of go about building a roster. But going back to the Astros though, it seems like every year when it kind of looks like the Astros run of dominance or just run of success is gonna start to falter a little bit, they just get that much better. They really just double down again on bringing the team back to where they want it to be. Some moves are big, some moves are small. This is one of the big ones with acquiring Josh Hader, and now you slide Ryan Presley down to a setup man for the 8th inning, 7th, 8th inning. And then you have Brian Abreu, who could very well be a closer for at least a good 3/4 of MLB teams. And then you have guys like Rafael Montero, and the regular starter go 4 or 5 innings, 6 innings, 3 top of the line guys that you can go to. Now on Fangraphs' projections for Josh Hader for next season, it looks like he's gonna have a mirror performance he had this past season for the Padres. Right now, I'm not super concerned. I think my only concern for Josh Hader is just the FIP, and his ERA is gonna really start reflecting into his FIP a little bit more, because we're talking about a little over a run difference between his ERA and his FIP. I bring that up because San Diego had a top 5 defense in the league last year, and you had the Platinum Glove Award winner Fernando Tatis Jr., who had a DRS of 29 out there in right field. He was the best defender in the game last year. But then going to an Astros team that is around top 17 in terms of DRS. But regardless of that fact, I'm not super worried about that. I don't think it's really going to hinder him all too much. He usually kind of has his hot and cold stretches, but when he is hot, he is the best the game has to offer. This move caught some people by surprise because people were anticipating that Josh Hader was going to get around the same, if not more money than what Edwin Diaz got from the Mets. Hader's camp even said that. And even though it was the same amount of years, it was $7 million less than what Diaz got. I think it came with the territory of the Houston Astros being consistently a team that makes deep playoff runs. They won the World Series in 2022, and they were a game away from making it back in 2023. So as a player, shaving off a couple $1 million to consistently make it deep into October, especially with this core of guys, the guys who've been around for a long time, like Jose Altuve and Alex Bregman, even to this point now, guys who are going to take this Astros team into the future, like Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez, Jeremy Pena. Josh Hader fits right into that mold and right into their window. Because Hader, I think that contract, some people may look at it as that he's going to be washed by the tail end of that contract, and they may very well be right. As of right now, Josh Hader is, if not the most dominant closer in the game right now. He's going to arguably the best team in the American League, and just making a really good team just that much better. Quite frankly, the Rangers could have used Josh Hader far more than the Astros could have. They could have really gone to use somebody as lethal as a Josh Hader to complement Jose Leclerc and have Leclerc be more of a setup guy. That was kind of the thing. It's just the fact that the Rangers The starting pitching was so good throughout the postseason, especially in the World Series, and the fact that you have guys like Corey Seager who went nuclear and Adolis Garcia who really stepped it up in the postseason as well. Now, does this make the Astros an unbeatable team? Absolutely not. I'm even the same person who said that the Dodgers aren't really one to be super afraid of, especially going into the next couple of years. They're going to be really good. Don't get me, no doubt about it. It's going to be hard to beat a team like that, of course. Now, the fact that Josh Hader is off the board, it is real interesting to see how other teams that weren't able to get Josh Hader are going to react, because with that idea of Kenley Jansen potentially being traded and the fact that Josh Hader is now off the table, I can imagine that a team like the Rangers would probably give the Red Sox a call about Kenley, because I feel they are really in the market of trying to get an established closer. The Astros have a history with dominant left-handed closers before, and I'm talking about potential Hall of Famer, or hopefully soon to be, if not this year, the next couple of years, and Billy Wagner, who had himself probably his best run of his career for the Astros back in the 90s and early 2000s as well. Like, the more that I've been able to think about it, the more it just looks like it's just such a really good fit. I've always been a fan of Josh Hader. Like, he's probably been one of my favorite relievers ever since he was in Milwaukee. And it was nuts to me that he got traded, I believe, like 2 or 3 times. I know he was drafted by the Orioles, found his way on the Astros sometime in 2013, and then eventually made his way to the Brewers, where he became the pitcher that we all know him as. And then he gets traded to the Padres. Now he's heading to the Houston Astros. That AL West is going to really be the wild west. And right now, Houston looks like they're going to be leading that charge and leading that race in that AL West. As of right now, until we see exactly what the Rangers kind of have up their sleeve, because they're going to see that and they're going to want to counterpunch, and then it's going to make those games a lot more exciting. But I just want to let people know that Josh Hader, what it means for Josh Hader to go to the Astros. The Astros could have looked at losing in Game 7, as we were 1 win away with the current roster we had now to make it back to the World Series to defend our title, and they could have made again those small under the radar moves and roster changes. But no, they wanted to reinforce their chances and bring in the best arm on the market in terms of relievers, pretty much is telling the rest of the league that we're not going anywhere. And I can even think that they're not done, because even look at the track record without Josh Hader. The Astros have consistently made it to the ALCS. The American League goes through the Houston Astros. Now, with that being said, hopefully this ramps up some more moves throughout the MLB, because it's like getting under around 25 days left before pitchers and catchers start reporting for spring training. And we saw big names like Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell still on the market in terms of pitching. Jorge Soler still on the market. Plenty of trade and just plenty of moves in general that are still yet to be made. Hopefully this Josh Hader signing kind of really sets a charge into the rest of the offseason.